Give me that background. Hold on. I don't want an overlay. Hold on. Hold on. Uh,
Hello.
can you see yourself?
Yes.
Oh, and I see people are on. Hello, Melissa Lopez. Hello, Shay Shay. Yay, we have people on, Karina. I'm trying to figure
Oh.
out why it's doing this. I don't want this in the background, Karina.
Oh.
Let's see. Why is it doing that? Let me add a screen. Hold on a second. Let's do this. I think I got it. Hold on. I think I got it. There's me. Yay. I just figured it out. See, I got this, y'all. I got this. So I'm going to delete this one screen.
There we
Hold on.
go.
There we are. Yay, yay. Okay, I'm going to remove that one. Okay, hello, everyone. Hi, Kobe. Yay, you guys are getting on. This is so exciting. Y'all, I'm so excited about today. We're obviously in the pre show. So do me a favor and go message everyone that you know and say, y'all have to be on this pre show and send them the link. Okay. Remember, we're going to do just like we did with Facebook. I want to always remind you guys that, we want to invite everyone to a party. We want to invite everyone to our party. Well, this is the pre show. And so you guys go right now. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. If you know who I'm talking about, if you have people that would get on the Facebook Lives, then, oh, yay, Kelly. Yay. You guys go ahead and send Facebook messages. Hurry, go ahead and send Facebook messages. Karina, you know what we should do is, Karina, go hit the Chicago feed and tell all the ladies,
Oh,
like,
yes.
get on right now. Some people forget, and I really should send a reminder text, but you know. Hi, Tanya Blair. I think there's more people on than it shows us, to be quite honest. So if you are on, please say hello in the comments. I'm very excited about today's Zoom. I have a bit of a lump in my throat because of what we're going to talk about, you guys. I hope that it speaks to you today. I really, truly do. Tanya, you as well. Go tell all the Chicago girls to get their butts on. Karina just did. Go get them, Tanya. Go get them. Hi, Shay Shay. Okay, you guys, those of you in the pre-show, I want to say hello. Um, can you guys see my face? Can you see our faces? Michelle's on. She said, "Can you guys see our faces? Can you tell me in the comments?" Yes. Okay, Kelly, you should be able to see our face. It looks much like a Zoom, but yet, hi, Wendy. Okay, there are more ladies on than I realized. Hello, everyone. So it's kind of like a Zoom. So for those of you that are new, here's what we're going to do is this is our pre-show, which is fun, just us chatting and whatnot. Robbie making all the mistakes, and I edit all of this out. Yay, Kobe. Okay, perfect. Then what we do is we'll go into podcast recording here in just a minute. And that portion is what you will hear on the podcast. People who listen to the podcast do not get the pre-show and they do not get the post-show. So watch this. Let's see. Wendy, I'm going to turn on the Q&A. Watch this. Wendy, can you just ask any question? I want to show them how this works, you guys. As you guys listen to the recording of this podcast, I want you to begin to write down questions that you may have for Karina, for myself, based off of the topic that we're going to be. So, oh, there's Marguerite. Okay, Marguerite, you as well. Can you guys ask something in the Q&A? And I want to show you guys that are new to the live recording why this is better than a Facebook Live. Don't you agree, Karina?
Yep.
I think number one, I get to see whoever's speaking face. But number two, I have a black screen, Michelle said. I don't know what happened.
You might want to try Old Faithful. Get out and get back in.
Yeah, right. Right. Hop off and hop back in because it looks like everyone can see us.
Yeah.
Okay, so watch this. Look, look, see, so Shay Shay, watch this, my lovey. So afterwards, when we have a live Q&A going, you can see that I'm able to put your messages on the screen. What do you want us to share? Okay, what do you want to share with us? See that? Or I could show Shay Shay put, how grateful are you for today? All this is going to be post podcast recording and we're able to interact that way. So as Karina is pulling out her heart, she's very nervous, so it may seem that way with her. You'll get an idea, but begin to write down questions. I didn't just close live Q&A, but that's okay. So, but yeah, this is pre-show. So, Karina, are you excited?
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Good. You're welcome. You're welcome. And to all of you that are joining us, I want to say thank you for joining us live. I share this every single time. Oh, thank you, Marguerite. I share this every single time, you guys. I am activated by humans, meaning I have a very hard time, even in my life coaching certification that I did and all of my seven secret recordings. If I don't have people on, I struggle really hard. So, you guys being active in the chat session, even during the podcast, is huge for myself. Karina, does it add value to you as well?
Yes, with interaction, it's easier because if I don't know if what I'm saying people are grasping or if it makes sense or if I'm going off on a tangent. So it helps a lot. Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, Tanya, if I were you, I would put the link that the link you got on with or whatever, or maybe Karina, Phyllis is asking in the Chicago feed, can you post the link? So maybe you could, the one I text out,
Yes.
Karina, not the one you have. You have the speaker's link. Please don't send that one out. We don't want everybody in speaker mode. Oh, Marguerite said she'll
Okay,
do it.
Marguerite, you'll do it. Thank you,
Thank you,
Marguerite.
Marguerite. But it means the world to us that you guys are here. And if you guys have been on my Facebook morning show, you know that I really believe we should never just come to get, like we should always come to give. And by what I mean by that is send the link out to your friends. Tell them get on the podcast party. Like we're all better together, you guys. We live life as a community. And maybe some of you guys are in my mastermind community. Maybe you're not. It's free. Why aren't you there? Number one, which maybe we could put that link in here too. I mean, we've got Marguerite's teaching the Traveler's Gift free book study. Karina teaches, I teach every Tuesday morning. Like, if we're not, y'all, if we're not getting fed, you're starving.
Mhm.
I know some of you think, no, I've got 15 pounds to lose. No, your soul is starving. Your mind is starving. And I'm fired up today because I've been training since 9 a.m. And so you guys are my last training of the day. Karina, are you ready for that?
Yes.
I need to be sure I don't spit fire. So, okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Are we ready?
Ready or not.
You're ready, Karina. She's very nervous. You're going to be just fine, Karina. Remember, I'm going to guide you through my three tips that I have for the girls, and then I really just want you to add value.
Yes, ma'am.
Trust your soul. Okay. Okay. So give me just a second here. I am going to, everybody else, give us just a second because I am going to, hang on.
Thanks for the encouragement, girls.
They love you.
I love them
They
too.
love you, Karina. Okay. All right. Everybody just stay put. Oh, thank you, Marguerite. She added the free mastermind group, you guys. It's free. Oh, Kim Skinner's here. Oh, I love Kim. Kim and I go way back. Oh, I love you, Kim. Okay. Focus, Robbie. Focus. Okay, let me get some water. Hang on. All right, Karina, you ready? You got it, girl. Lista?
Lista.
All right, everybody. Here we go. Everybody pause. You have chosen to watch or listen to this podcast today. I personally love pouring out. I love adding value. I'm 53 years old. I am married for 30 years this year. Two beautiful men called my boys, a 28-year-old who's married with the cutest little grandbaby you've ever seen in your entire life. And then also Haley, my daughter in law, who's pregnant with another woman, another man, another boy for our family. So we're very excited about that. So basically, I'm surrounded by men. And one of the things I love about this time that we get to spend together is that I get to spend it with females. I get to spend it with women just like the rest of us who are in our Gen X season. Or maybe you're not a Gen Xer. Maybe you're the generation behind us, or maybe you're the generation in front of us. Regardless, we're women on a mission to be better together. And so today is about passing the baton, and so I want to say to you guys before we get what I want to do, you guys, can you hear me okay, Karina? Okay, can you guys hear us okay on the other end? Can you let us know? Can you guys hear us? Sometimes, Karina, this happens and I have to edit all this. Okay, yes, we hear you now. Okay, I'm going to start this part over. Ready? And thank you guys for letting me know. I can edit all this out. Okay. Could you guys hear the part about the texting me and about the thumbs up? Could you guys hear that on the other end? No. Okay, let me try that again, Karina. Okay, hang on a second. You guys keep you guys keep me posted if you can hear when I'm about to do the texting. Hold on.
Because we're backstage and I can hear you backstage, but they can't.
Yeah, well, we're actually in the streaming room, but I'm not real sure why. Can you guys hear me? You're back, said Tanya. Okay, I'm going to figure that out. Don't you worry. Now I see and hear both of you. Yay! Thank you so much for the feedback. Okay, Karina, remind me to figure that out. I've got to figure that out. Why? Is that Annette Avilas? Is that my bestie in the house? I'm going to have to do a lot of editing on this podcast, but that's okay, y'all. Is that my little bestie, Annette? I love it. Annette, I need to have you on my podcast, Miss Rockstar Woman. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to start this over. Ready? I'm going to start this over. Hold on. Smile, Karina. Here we go. Ready? All right, everyone. I want to introduce you to a very special guest that I have today on this podcast called Pass the Baton. And her name is none other than Karina Garcia, or if you say it in our accent, Karina Garcia. Okay. It kind of depends if you're from the same country our ancestors are. So, Karina, thank you for being on today. I know you're super excited to share with all these ladies about passing the baton.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited to share with these amazing women and I appreciate the opportunity of being here.
Yeah, well, I want to say this to you guys. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited that you guys are here. I want you guys to grab your favorite coffee, maybe a glass of wine. I don't know when it is that you're watching this particular podcast, but I want you to get comfy because we're going to dive into a topic that's super near and dear to my heart. If you follow me on social media, if you follow me anywhere, you're going to know that I believe without the shadow of a doubt that passing the baton is crucial. And we're going to get more into that here in just a minute. But even more so at our age, you guys, I am 53 years old. Some of you guys may not be Gen Xers, you may be just behind us. Some of you may be older than us. Regardless, the older that we get, passing the baton is huge. And I believe as women in this season of our life, that it's not just a chapter that we're going to go through, that it's one that we can thrive in. And I'm here for thriving, y'all. Can I get an amen to that?
Yes.
But it's also one that can impact generations to come. So I want to talk to you guys about why embracing this season and passing on the baton of wisdom is vital for the next generation. So let's talk about a couple of key points. Karina, I know you have some value to add on key point number one. You've got experience, my friends, that can't be Googled. I want you to feel that. When I shared that with Karina, she was like, I felt that. Wisdom in your 50s comes from decades, 5 decades of real life experiences. You can't find that on Google, you guys. I want you to think about it. We've been through the ups and the downs. We've been through heartbreaks. We've been through heart greatness. We've been through career changes. We've been through friends. We've been through betrayal. We've been through acceptance. We've been through celebrations. We've been through being tolerated and all the messes in between. This is the kind of knowledge and wisdom that you can't Google, you guys. It's wisdom, listen, that you've earned, not that you've learned. Sure, you may have read a book now and then, but at the end of the day, you guys, it's earned. And it's why the next generation really needs us to pass it on. So, by sharing your story, by sharing your trials, by sharing your triumphs, you're really giving others a roadmap that they didn't even know that they needed. You're saying, hey, listen to me. I've been there. And here's what I've learned. Because you guys, everyone in this world has experience. There's a lot of people, I don't want your experience wisdom. I want what you've learned, meaning what you've taken out of that season. I want what made you better in that season. What tips and tricks can you give me to inspire me and guide me to what I'm going through? And so, Karina, I know that was a huge tip for you. What value would you add to that? You have experience that has turned into wisdom. and that wisdom cannot be Googled.
I love that you said that because it's true. I mean, if I think about Gen X women and the women that we look up to, I also think about TV sitcom moms like Carol
Mm,
Brady from the Brady Bunch. How many of us were probably raised with watching TV shows like that, where you had a TV mom that seemed like her whole life was perfect and you wanted to accomplish that, but then life hits and you're like, I cannot accomplish that. So that's like something that seems difficult. But then I turn around and I see moms like the ladies here, like you, and I'm like, okay, they're vulnerable. They talk about issues they've been through, their experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Oh, okay. So even though I made a mistake, I'm not a horrible mom or a horrible wife. And so it gives me so much hope when I'm able to look forward to you guys to say, okay, I can do this. It may seem difficult. It may seem like I'm never going to get there. It may seem like, am I going to be able to keep my kids alive? But for the most part, there's so much hope in knowing that you guys have encountered some huge obstacles, and not only have you surpassed them, but you're able to look back and say, hey, if you're willing to listen, I can help you with my wisdom and my experience and my knowledge. Avoid that obstacle that's going to come, because it's going to come regardless. Mortgages are a thing,
mhm.
issues in marriage are a thing. Figuring out, your kids when they're little bedtimes, when they're older, do you let them go out with their friends? Do they spend the weekend? Do they spend the night? When they're adults leaving for the first time and they no longer need mom, what does that look like? What do I do? So you guys know this, you've lived it, you've experienced it, and some of you even more than with one child. So that gives us hope as we're watching, that we may not be right next to you asking you the questions, but we're paying attention because we don't want to lose hope. And we want to believe that we're going to be married 30 years and still be thriving and still be in love and still want to put our best foot forward like you guys do.
And so, what impact, Karina, do you think social media has played? The highlight reel, right? The highlight reel. You see everybody's highlight reel. And so people watch social media, but they don't, like you and I, we have a life mastermind group. It's free, for heaven's sake. Like, why are you not in our free mastermind group? We gather you guys all the time. And so, Karina, I think people are relying on social media and highlight reels, which are fake and filters. What impact do you feel like impact is social media is bringing to people in your generation that are just a few years behind? How old are you, Karina?
43.
So I am literally almost 10 years older than you. Well, if you watch me on social media, you probably think my marriage is perfect. I'm perfect. I struggle with nothing. I'm always, that's a lie. But you know better, Karina, because you sit in the mastermind. So maybe speak that to this generation that just think I'm going to learn it all on social media.
Oh my gosh, that is something that is kind of like a kryptonite to so many, because social media magnifies comparison.
Mhm.
Social media allows you to do just that. You follow influencers or people that you look up to, and you're just seeing their highlight reels. And as you're seeing the edits, because I've posted content, as you're seeing the edits, it looks amazing. Even quick recipes, you're like, oh my gosh, they're a chef. They must have gone to culinary school. But then
Yeah.
you don't realize that that's not the truth. It's just they're just sharing with you what they do. So it's taking the time to realize social media is going to show you one thing.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily scripted, written by anybody, but it's edited to show you what they want you to see. When you come into a community like the mastermind group, you're vulnerable. You're able to be just you.
Mm.
Nobody's behind you with a camera. You're just being outspoken and saying, "Hey, this morning I had a conversation with my husband. We disagreed. Do you guys have any wisdom, any insight?" Oh my gosh! And the stories you'll hear and the wisdom you're given, it reminds you, like, okay, yeah, this is something like I can get through. Okay, yes, thank you for sharing that. That I hadn't thought of that perspective, because we can get so close-minded, assuming everything's beautiful and not knowing that sometimes you have to be in the weeds, willing to work it out to get out of the weeds.
So, have you found, Karina, that being a part of the mastermind group, right? You're on everything. Say, for instance, for myself, I know you follow and do a whole lot of other things, but just I have experience with you. So, have you found that the value, myself, the mastermind, other ladies adding value has brought more than you could ever Google? And if yes, why?
Oh my goodness. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is I wouldn't know what to Google, because I'm not being
That's
honest
good.
with myself as to what. What wall did I hit today? It's easier to make an excuse for myself or not hold myself accountable or justify my actions or lack thereof. But around you guys, around the community, when you guys are vulnerable and you share something, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going through that. So it's
Mm,
that realization as you raise a white flag that it's okay for me to raise mine. And I can't go to Google and say, what's going on with my life today that I need to work on? Google doesn't
yeah.
know that. But as I hear you guys talk about life, it reminds me that it's okay to be vulnerable and be honest.
And Google doesn't know your blind spots, right? Google doesn't know that you got upset, maybe that you said one word too many. Google doesn't know these things. But you guys, at the end of the day, when we literally go in for wisdom, one thing I always tell people, whether it's financially, whether it's in business, whether it's marriage, whether it's parenting, those of us, Karina, that are older than you, right? We're old. I've been married. How long have you been married to Oscar?
18 years,
I've been married 30. How old are your kids?
24, 17, and 12.
Mine are 28 and 21 on Monday. Are you a grandmother?
No.
I'm a grandmother. So the more we realize, you guys, Google is not going to help you lean in. It's really truly saying, okay, listen, I was really mad this morning. And the rest of us girls going, girl, same. Is it the full moon? Because Brian and I got the biggest fight last night. I think of my best friend who's on here, Annette, and Annette and I can literally, we'll give each other a few minutes, Karina, and we're like, okay, you go first, you vent about Louise, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to vent about Brian. And you know what? It just is what it is, right? So, but at the end of the day, you guys, it's so important that you're around people who see past your Google search, if that makes sense. So, okay, let's go to number two, Karina. You're a living example of resilience and reinvention. Because listen, if there's one thing that I know by this stage of my life at 53, being married for 30 years, raising my boys, now a mother in law with a grandbaby, another grandbaby on the way, two foreclosures, bankruptcy, our baby boy dying, marriage through the rocks and through the ceiling, what I've learned is that life will throw you curveballs. Sometimes we've been trained to think, something must be going on because it's really good right now. But you know what? Here we are still standing, still shining, still married, still pushing forward, still believing our greatest days are ahead of us. And so your resilience, you guys, is a lesson in itself. And Karina's generation is watching. It's really something that the younger generation really will look up to. And so by owning the season, by being unapologetically flesh, right? Flesh. We all live in a flesh suit. You're really teaching the next generation that it's never too late to reinvent themselves or to start something new or to chase a new dream. You're really proof that age is really just a number and the fire in your belly to be alive and passionate no matter where you are in life. And so, Karina, speak into that a little bit because I hope that when you watch me at 53 and Brian and I married for 30 years, I hope that you see my mistakes and you think, okay, good. She's older than me and she still acts like a fool. She still needs to ask Brian for forgiveness. She's still, right? Like, I hope that I'm proving to the next generation that that's important.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think there's so much value in the fact that I don't know if you ladies know that you're paving the way for us as we follow you. You're allowing us to see the reality of life outside of movies, television,
Mm.
even books. You're allowing us to realize that every day is a new day for new opportunities, new lessons to learn if we're willing to put in the effort. And my favorite part of watching Gen X is honestly, and I can't wait to get to that day where I stop worrying so much about what other people care or say about me.
Mm,
Like to
that's your
see you
50s,
guys.
girl. That's your
Oh,
50s.
like just to watch you guys boss ladies, like oh my gosh, so much value. You can pivot without asking for permission to pivot. You are so capable, so fierce, and that's what we need. We need that reminder that we will get there, and it's okay to be okay with you in your own skin, and whatever healing journey you're in or whatever part of your life you're in, and realize, hey, I've done things in my life, I can keep doing things in my life. And that's the beauty I love of watching you guys just being unapologetically yourselves and embracing that and actually being okay saying this is me. And I'm not going to ask you if you're okay with me because this is who I was created to be, and you live your life just full of passion and just so fearlessly.
And that's going to come for you, right? Those of you that are in your 40s, you're in the tail end of seeking so much approval. It's in your 50s that you're like, listen, at this point in the game, if you don't like me, move on. Like there's nothing about me that's going to change for you. Like even there, even Karina at 30 years of marriage, Brian and I still have these conversations where Brian's like, listen, babe, you're just not going to change that about me. I'm like, you know what? You're right. And I'm not going to change this about me. Right. So Karina, the I keep talking about the mastermind today for some reason. I don't know who I'm speaking to that wants to be part of our free mastermind, but at the end of the day, I want to ask this because in our mastermind, we have some ladies in their 60s, we have some ladies in their 30s, we have some ladies in their 40s. You're in your 40s, but I want to ask you this question. When you see us ladies in our 50s or our 60s in the mastermind and we're crying, maybe we feel lost, maybe we're confused, maybe we don't feel like a good mom today. Maybe we're wondering if we made the right decision. How does that liberate you in your 40s to watch us in a totally different decade still be human?
So as you said that, I saw a scene from a show where they're in an airplane and it's gonna crash land and the masks come down.
Mhm.
When I see y'all, I feel like you give me permission to put my mask on and breathe because I can see you putting yours on. Instead of you seeing, oh, I'm good, I don't need the air, I'm fine, and you're turning purple. It's like
Oh,
you're
wow.
vulnerable enough and okay to say, nope, I need my mask on because I can't do this today without it. So I can look at you and say, okay, I can follow suit. So it's
Wow.
it's removing the shame or the guilt of not being perfect because I can look up to you guys and realize you're not living every day for perfection. You're living every day to be the best version of yourself you can be that day with whatever environment or season you're in. So that's what I feel like you're giving me another okay, I can do this. That breath
Wow.
of air that I needed.
I love that. And Karina, would you agree there's a lot of ladies in their 50s and their 60s that have dug their heels in and said, I'm not growing anymore, and they're really not thriving? And that's what I talk about experience, right? There's some 50, 60 years old. I don't really want your feedback, right? The Bible says they will know you by your fruits. If you're producing fruits in an area, I want your wisdom on that. But if you're not, I don't want your wisdom. That's just experience. And so, okay, Karina, let me ask you this. I was just thinking about this. So as you watch women in their 50s and their 60s, how much permission do we give you to not stop growing, to not stop seeking, to not stop showing up? Because let's be honest, in our 50s, this is me. Like I can refine myself. I can polish myself a little bit more. I can dignify myself a little bit more. But sister here is not going to change. Like I'm realizing God made this. But how much permission do we give you to think, wow, she's still coming to the table? Wow, she's still seeking. What does that do for your generation?
I think the fact that not only is a table set, but there's a place setting. And when I come to the table, there's so much encouragement. There's so much open hearts and like there's no judgment. Literally, like I can see all of you with open arms saying, what's going on today? And you're allowing me to just be completely transparent. And sometimes I wonder, Am I saying too much? Am I being foolish? Am I too quirky? Am I too weird? And I
Mm.
honestly have never felt more comfortable being just me in my own skin than when I'm around y'all. Because I feel like you guys, you're not there to judge me. You're not there to like with red pen and like, oh no, she didn't meet the mark here. She messed up. No, like you're holding me accountable. You're gonna tell
Right.
me what you see, but you give me permission to just be me and ask the questions. And that's the biggest thing. Being able to ask questions and get wisdom, that is something that I don't know if women in our early 40s or late 30s feel like they can do. Because I think we put so much pressure on, we're not in our 20s, but we're not in our 50s. So it's like, where do we go? Do we help the
Yeah.
younger ones come up? Do we help and you guys just say, hey, like, stop looking everywhere. Just focus forward. What are you dealing with right now? And how can we help? That's been something that's been a blessing.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel like this is new for you? You know, you and I were raised in church. We know that Bible studies are topical or maybe they're age driven, right? But you're in a community where we're all different, right? We've got Phyllis, who's a widow. We've got Eileen, who's been married over 40 years. You've got her son's incarcerated in prison. You've got Andrea, who's still got high school and a junior high child. You've got me, who's a grandma. Like we all have different phases in life. So, what would you say that's done for you to see the pockets of wisdom and how we all come together, no matter who's older or younger? We literally seek wisdom of each other because everybody has something to add.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of it is that I'm able to see a garden of trees with different fruits, and depending on the fruit that
Yeah.
I'm lacking, I need a pear today. Oh my gosh, where do I find a pear? All of you aren't trying to be apples or pears. You're all who you are. So I can go if I need wisdom from Tanya, because I see Tanya riding her bike every day, working out every day at her
Yeah.
age, and I'm like, what's my excuse? I can go towards her and say, hey, can you help me understand where you get your motivation? You have to get up at 4:30 in the morning because you work. You're a registered nurse. Like, how does all this happen? Or if I need wisdom, and I did do this because I had a friend who lost her husband, and I reached out to Phyllis. Phyllis, what do I do to help her? She's a widow now, and I don't want to, how do I help? And she was great at saying, don't forget this. She needs this. She's going to go through this. And I was like, oh my gosh, like if I don't have this community of women who are so available for whatever may be going on, I think I'd be stuck. I think I'd be stuck and more isolated, because I can be great at being isolated, but we weren't created to be in isolation. We're all
Right.
part of one body. We're all different body parts. Sometimes I need the pinky, sometimes I need the ear, sometimes I need the fat toe, and
Yeah.
without each other, we're off balance. We're off kilter. And that's what I love about the community.
Oh, I love that. And speaking of, I'm going to switch to the third tip, which is the community, because I think our hearts are pulling us that way. But passing the baton, you guys, you can foster a community and a sense of belonging, not just for yourself, but for others. Because in this season, our 50s, our 60s, it's a time that we can come together. We can create, we can share our hearts. We can share where we've been, what we've learned, and most importantly, where we're going. And so I want you to think about the power of your mentorship. If you had mentorship, a connection, and a sense of purpose, who would be your audience? See, I think most women, Karina, are dying inside because we're obese with wisdom. We're obese with seasons that we've come through, and we really do want to share our stories, but we think we have to write a book and it has to be a number one bestseller. Let me tell you something. I would rather get women on a Zoom. I would rather take you women to Chicago and pour into you than write a book. Ultimately, you guys, when you pass on the wisdom, you're not just impacting that one person like Phyllis to Karina. Karina then had a ripple effect and was able to pass that on to her friend whose husband just passed. You're really fostering a space where people feel heard, understood, and supported. And so, you guys, when we show up and we share our stories in communities in a sense of belonging, it really tells other people you're not alone on this journey. We live in a very polarizing world. And so as I think of our community, Karina, I think of our ladies, right? We've got single moms. Like you said, Tanya, she's a single mom, single grandma raising her her elderly mom, full-time nurse. Then we've got Michelle. She was a mayor for 8 years, one son. She's an empty nester, still married, Nebraska fan. Then you've got Marguerite. She's Catholic. She's got her beautiful boys, her husband. There's me. Like we don't all have to be voting for the same person or all go to the same church or all believe the same beliefs to come together, Karina, in community for the betterment of our lives. So maybe speak into that because as I think about everyone, we couldn't be more polar opposite, true? We
Hmm.
could not be more polar opposite in our community. Maybe speak into that as well, because listen, the best place that the enemy wants you is to feel polarized, isolated, and alone. And so we may talk about sex, we may talk about Jesus, we may talk about Trump, we may talk about Kamala, we may talk about football, we may talk about our brains, we may cry, we may talk about lashes. We don't care. We come together for the betterment of people. So maybe speak into our community and a community as a whole.
Yes, I love that. And I can't help but think of wine. If you think of wine, wine is made through pressed grapes, fermented pressed grapes. And the longer they're fermented, the more flavor they have. Like when you look at a bottle of wine, what are you looking for? How old is it? How long has it been storing
Right.
its greatness? And I think that's the beauty of the community. It's every single woman that's listening to this, you have something that you can bring to the table. I
Yep.
beg you to pass down what you've learned, your lessons, because you may think nobody needs me, my kids are gone, whatever may be happening. But when you give yourself permission to be part of something bigger, to be part of a community of other women, you have no idea that a question you asked or a story you shared maybe giving somebody else the permission to feel like they're seen, they're valued, and they're not alone in the journey they're traveling. And it's
Mm,
remembering that the race that we're all running, you're literally passing that baton, and you have to keep running. Because if you look at a relay race, what do? They're running with that baton and then they do this while they keep running, and this girl's running, and you're not looking
yep.
back to see, did you get it, did you not? You're trusting that they're going to grab onto what you're passing forward so they can keep going. So that's the other side. Trust your legacies to those of us that you're passing the baton to,
Mm,
because you want it to carry on through your family and through your children. That's wonderful, that's great. But what about those of us that are coming to you, that are around you, that are listening, that are watching, that are absorbing? We can carry your legacy too. Every,
yeah.
like you said many times, that fingerprint that we leave behind, and how many people, I'm sure I have so many of y'all's fingerprints all over me, and my kids have them too, because I share the wealth. So it's knowing that as you pass down those legacies in your communities that you're a part of, and if you're not a part of, like Robbie says, join ours, it's free. You are allowing us to carry your legacy and then pass that forward and continue to build the ripple effect of unity, of love, of empowering other women, and knowing that we're not alone in our journeys. We don't have
Mm.
to do this by ourselves.
And you know what I just thought of, Karina, as you were talking? I'm thinking of the ladies in our community like myself that are empty nesters. A lot of us are all boy moms, right? Like I'm thinking of Phyllis Clark, say, for instance. She's a widow. She's got three boys. They're all grown. Well, Phyllis, she's thriving in our community because, if Phyllis is 60, well, you're 43. I mean, a few years older, you could be Phyllis's daughter, or you could be a daughter in law, or Eileen, you could be her daughter. And so our kids are grown and gone. And you guys, sometimes it's not our place to give all of our wisdom and shove our wisdom down our grown children's throat. But there's the Karinas out there that are wanting your baton. And what happens is I too have two grown boys. They're like, oh my God, here goes mom again. Like if I were to just count on my boys, Karina, to want my wisdom, I would be dying. But they don't want my wisdom. I'm mom. I just need to be mom. I pray every day for my boys that someone will step into their life like I've stepped into Karina's and Andrea's and the younger generation. I pray that for my boys. It doesn't have to be me. But imagine, Karina, the amount of women who are literally dying because they're not positioning themselves with the you and the younger generation who y'all really do want our wisdom, right? Would you agree with that?
Definitely, that there's a truth to the fact that we can be dying of thirst, and if you have the living water we need, why would you keep it to yourself?
Yeah.
Like, share what you've known, what you've learned, what you've gauged. Even sometimes you guys see things in us that I'm completely blind to. And when you mentioned it, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? Yes, thank you. So it's like, why not have each other's back, knowing that it doesn't matter if you're not a Robbie Page or a coach, or it's like, don't diminish who you are, don't diminish what you have to offer, and don't diminish the fact that there are many of us that may not come up to you and ask you the question, but we are paying attention to what you share, to what you post, to anything that you give us, we're going to take from, because that's what we need. Those are the nutrients that we need, and you have them for us. So it's not being afraid of thinking I'm not good enough anymore, nobody needs me anymore, I'm too old. No, you're like, your roots go so far. I mean, if you sat down and told us stories of your upbringing and where you are now, where you've come from, what you've been through, you'd give us permission to do the same. So
Mm.
you're paving the way for our race. We're following alongside you. Some of us may be on the track with you, some of us on the bench, some of us from the seats, some of us in the parking lot, but you have multiple areas of women that are watching you, wanting to know, could you give me just a little bit so that I know I can give somebody a little bit one day.
And speaking of passing the baton, I happen to have a track star as a son, right? And he was in the 4x1 and the 4x2. And I want to tell you, Karina, as you were sharing that, I was thinking of Riley as a freshman. They pulled him as a freshman up to varsity to run the relay with the seniors. See if I can say this without getting choked up, but you just said something that took me back when you said we're either on the track with you or in the stands or on the bench. And Riley was ready, Karina. Do you know why? Because he watched these seniors. He watched everything they did at practice. He watched the way they ran. He watched how they were being coached. And when the coach made the phone call, right? When the season hits, when the kid is rebellious, when your marriage is falling apart, when you need to make a pivot in life, when all these things happen, Riley was ready because he had watched the seniors and the juniors. Little did he know that over the next few years, he would be on the state champion 4x1, 4x2 that would repeatedly break the school records over and over. What you just said there, Karina, is huge. Some of you are watching the seniors. In our mastermind, we have seniors. We have the Wendy's, an older one in there. She's raised her boys. She's a grandma like me, but she's always got wisdom to give back, and she's always seeking wisdom. Like, you guys don't understand. For those of you that are younger, sometimes we need you to stop and say, I'm about to hand you the baton back because you forgot how great you are, or you forgot that we need you, just like you're doing right now, Karina. You are passing the baton back to us. And you are saying, you start your relay race over. And when you get around that bend, then you can pass it on because you've learned how to run and you've learned how to race. I just felt that. Like, I'm getting sweaty armpits.
I
this
love
is This is so good. Okay, so listen, you guys. Passing the baton of wisdom in your 50s, 60s, even your 40s, let's just be honest, is so much more than just sharing advice, right? I laugh, Karina. I spent some time in New Orleans with some people, and one of the messages that I got was my therapist told me that um, he feels like you've impacted me more in 3 days than he has in therapy in 6 years. And I said to my therapist, no, she was here for 32 hours and she was in the hotel room for 8 of those. And he said, I need to meet this woman. And I was laughing, Karina, because I said, except for with my boys. They're like, Mom, shut up. whatever, mom. But you guys, I say that because my boys don't give two rips potato chip about my wisdom.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean I don't have it because Karina needs it. Andrea needs it. Eileen needs it. Michelle in leadership, we need it. So no matter what, I want to encourage you guys that maybe you're dying on the vine because your kids are like, mom, whatever. But you guys, there's a lot of people out there waiting for you to pass the baton, waiting for your lived wisdom, not Googled, waiting for your resilience, waiting for you to build a community. And by stepping into that with open arms, you guys, not only are you paving a way for the future generations, but let me tell you, you are paving the way for yourself. I know every day where and who seeks my wisdom. And when you own that and you understand that, you literally will get on your stories, you will get on Facebook, you will join masterminds, and you will begin to pour out. So, Karina, what closing thoughts do you have for everyone?
If nothing else, I encourage you within your community, even if you go to church or you go to the store or you go wherever. Remember, I pray that God places people like Robbie Page in the lives of my children, because mom can give advice, but like you said, it comes and out because your mom and dad, your dad. But to know that there could be somebody like a Robbie Page in my kids' ears, praying for them, believing for them, giving them wisdom. You don't know who's out there in your even local community that may be begging. The parents are praying, God, place somebody in front of my child because they're falling apart and they're not listening. Your encounter with them could be what changes their life for the better. And you didn't even do it with the intention of today, I'm going to go and share wisdom. Even just
Right.
saying, hey, how's your day going today? How's your work day going? You never know the impact you will make in somebody's life
Mm.
by just being you and daring to put yourself out there. But don't be afraid that you're too dried out, that you're no good. No, please, I ask you. Like Robbie said, if you have to rerun the relay race, get back on the track.
Yeah.
Keep going. Don't give up because we're watching and we need that reminder that hope isn't over and we can continue to do this even if it's difficult.
I love that. Thank you, Karina. I want you girls to remember that you really do have a lifetime of wisdom that can't be Googled, lessons that you've learned along the way that can't be Googled. You have people that are praying for you to show up. Let's own that. Let's celebrate where we've come from and turn it into a miracle. Let's take our messes and turn them into miracles. Let's take our lowest moments and turn them into leadership. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Karina, thank you so much for pouring out and reminding us why passing the baton is so crucial. So I appreciate you guys. Remember, hit subscribe, be sure to follow. You guys will love these podcasts. We're all better together. If you guys need any more information on our community that's free for you, we'll leave the link in the comments below. So Karina, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Where can they find you, Karina?
So they can find me on Instagram. It's underscore Flor Karina Garcia, FLORKARINA Garcia underscore, or on Facebook as Karina Garcia 22.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And you might want to share with these ladies you've written content, you have a Bible study you've done, so they can message you on social media for that as well, right?
Yes, yes. And thank you so much for everything, being a part of what Robbie's sharing and her coaching and her wisdom in the community. I've written different books, I've written different journals, I've created a Bible study, like she mentioned, some of you ladies have been a part of. Let me know. Breaking free from religious mindsets, breaking free from that rat race of not believing in who you are and who you were created to be. So I love to help women as much as I can. Just encourage you to believe in who you are.
I love it. Thank you again, Karina, from the bottom of my heart. Until next time, you guys, go shine. The world is waiting for your baton. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye, everyone.